right, and we are live on YouTube.
Good afternoon. My name is Bobette Mays, and I want to welcome you to our August the 22nd Neighborhood Advisory Committee virtual meeting. We will now call our meeting to order. The committee consists of 9 members, all appointed by the City Council with the representation from specific community sectors. Members shall be residents of the city or the city's extraterritorial zoning jurisdiction and shall reflect the economic diversity of Asheville. The term of office is 3 years. The noise in the background is my grandson, and he wants to join this meeting also. The committee was established to advise the City Council on neighborhoods within the City of Asheville zoning and planning jurisdiction. The committee should have the following powers and duties: develop rules and bylaws for the conduct of its business, including but not limited to meeting schedules, officers, voting, subcommittees. Develop a plan to strengthen neighborhood identity and resilience and to facilitate communication and cooperation between Asheville neighborhoods and city offices. Develop benchmarks and standards by which progress towards implementing the plan can be measured, and work on specific projects that are consistent with the goals of the committee as assigned or directed by the City Council. Please remember that community members have the option to both watch this live stream and to call in to listen to members and to meetings, and that is why it's important to verbally talk through each of the agenda items. We do not have a quorum, and that will have to be something that we decide on. I think that if we would say that we would give 10 minutes before we would say that we cannot proceed on with a meeting. How would we handle that, Dowell?
So I think it's at the committee's discretion how long you would like to wait to see if we've got more members that come on so that you all have a quorum. I certainly think that 10 minutes is a reasonable amount of time. And if we do need to cancel, if we don't have a quorum, then we can talk about what the next regular meeting's agenda looks like and make sure that that's posted ahead of time for everybody to see as we normally do.
Okay.
Excuse me, I just heard from Elise and she said 5:30 and she was at a meeting. She thought it was at 5:30 and she was at a meeting with her boss, but she can wrap it up. So she will attend the meeting in just a few minutes. If we want to wait, Bobette, that's up to you. I'm asking her how long. I don't know how long.
Because wherever she is, she will probably have to arrive. Well, what we can say, I don't know. Do we have anyone on the call, Dawa? Is there anybody that?
No, ma'am, we do not.
Do not have anything?
There's nobody. Yeah, nobody on the call and no email.
So what happens now is we can review the agenda. We can look at it. We can kind of make some comments. We can give some updates on staff activities, and we can talk about a few things. But as far as a lot of things would be unfinished business because no, the people, the volunteer spotlight, they're not here. They're not on this call, and she's not here either, is she? Helen? I thought Christina said she was coming to this meeting. But we don't have her either.
Oh, yeah. She's always on time.
So I don't know what is happening. I don't know. What we would do is, you have seen the agenda. We're going to have to decide what time and where we'll have our next meeting. I know our next meeting, That's Helen Hyatt. Good. Can we go on and hear from Ken Dowell?
Sure, that is 100% your all's decision. So however you want to manage through the agenda, that is your choice.
So let's just go on and Elise is here. We can go on. Would you give your staff activities and updates, Dowell?
Yes.
Start.
Happy to. So, hello, committee members. It's good to see all of you. Dowa Hitch, and I serve as the Communication and Public Engagement Director for the city. Christina Israel and I are co-staffing the Neighborhood Advisory Committee right now. Christina is out today, so you've got just me, and I'm really happy to give this very, very brief update on a project that you all will hear reports on periodically over the next 2 years, and that is the Arpa Inclusive and Accessible Government Project. So that's a project that our department, Communication and Public Engagement, applied for through the city's Arpa process, and it's a multi-component project. And I just wanted to share with you all that one piece of that is putting together another community engagement academy, which we did when we were walking through our reimagining public safety exercise a few years ago, and then kind of transitioned into reparations. So there was some cohesion between those two events and the establishment of a community engagement academy. We had some good success with that, and we're looking at for ways to operationalize that. So in your work with neighborhoods, I can imagine that there might be folks that you run into that would be good candidates for the program. So just wanted to plant the seed and let you all know that we'll be scoping that project out these next 6 months, and then rolling into implementation of that here in the next year. So no to-dos per se right now, but just wanted to let you all know that Community Engagement Academy is going to be something that we're working on, and would love to keep you all informed and ask for your help in recruiting folks to attend that within your neighborhoods. And it is oriented towards folks that have historically been missing from decision-making in the city, and walking through building capacity, doing trainings, and then setting up individuals that are interested to be ambassadors for community engagement moving forward. So that might look like connecting with people in certain neighborhoods for which they would receive a stipend. But again, that whole project will be scoped out a little bit further here in the coming year. The second piece of that is creating community spaces so that we can better meet people where they are. So again, this is just an update, kind of a preview on this process, but in that proposal, what we've said we'll be aiming to do is to, working with the Community Engagement Academy participants, we will be going out into community and learning where people are already gathering. And then there will be a process for 5 spaces to be upfit for hybrid meeting technology. So again, the community will be identifying where they are already meeting through some type of process to be determined. We're in the very infant stages of this right now, but the intention is that communities will decide on places where they would like to have some investments that would support community members coming to a space and being able to participate, for example, in a community meeting. So if any of you watched the reparations speaker series, which kind of launched this whole effort, in the very last one, we were finally able to get that done. And there was a pretty, what was the language? It's more like a watch party within the neighborhood. And those people that were at that watch party were able to come into the meeting at the Harris Cherokee Center and have their voices heard. So that's the idea. That was the inspiration. That's the idea, to do more like that, but certainly co-designing that with communities is what will be focused on. There's more aspects to that project, including sign language and Spanish and Russian, translation, interpretation, some improvements in that area. But with respect to NAC, I just thought it might be nice to give you all a little update, since that's certainly something we'll be working on here in the coming months. And that concludes my brief update. Happy to answer any questions.
Is this posted anywhere, Dawa?
Not yet, because we haven't even put together the project charter. We have the proposal and happy to share that. And we can certainly post that up on NAC's site as part of the meeting materials that were shared. So I'm happy to share the proposal with all of the NAC members.
Thank you.
Okay, now we have a quorum. I'm going to back up for just a minute and let the members introduce themselves, and not just tell what their zip code is, but what area in specifics that they are with. I am the chair, and I'm representing 28803 and 28704, which is part of South Asheville, the Shiloh community, going into some parts of almost going towards Arden area. And so, Sharon.
Hey, I'm Sharon Sumrall. I'm vice chair and 28805, which is, I live in an odd area that's not covered by anybody. So I have covered myself through Easten Valley, but I am assigned to 28805 because that is my zip code. So, and I'm just now starting to work with Peter, who's also in 28805, now that COVID is done and we can get together at the retreat and figure out our next steps. So that's my idea for 28805. I have hope.
All right, Elise.
Hi, I'm Elise Marter, and I live in 28806. But I'm an at-large member, and I also live in an area that doesn't have a formal neighborhood association.
Peter?
So I'm Peter Amzug. I'm like Sharon, I live in 28805. I'm at large and located in East Asheville.
Okay. So we have some unfinished business, which would be to select the time and location for our September in-person meeting. I received an email from Christina that we won't be able to use the time of 5 o'clock because there's already a previous meeting there until 5:30. So if the option would be that we would go to 6 o'clock, and I think that was something that we had discussed before. So your thoughts? Speak up, not everyone, because September's the next meeting.
I have no problem with 6.
Me too. I'm good.
If that works.
Fine for me. I can't remember. I feel like Carl and someone else had issues with time. Mike had issues with time on Monday, but
well, the thing about it is, I think that Carl had an issue with the time. He did better with 5, and Mike did better with 6.
Yes,
That was what the discussion was. So I do believe that we probably can't accommodate everybody, but we can do the best we can. Dawa, is there any way we can make sure that we get 6 o'clock in person at our usual meeting place?
So with that, the first floor conference room,
Mhm.
had you all already transitioned over to the first floor conference room before COVID? I do know that's where we're trying.
Yes, we had our meetings over there. Yes.
Okay.
We did.
So yes, I will send an email right now stating that that's the preference. And then I guess you all would need to vote that you would like to move your meeting time to 6 o'clock on Mondays, beginning with the September 22nd meeting.
So that means I need a motion on the floor.
I make a motion, so stated.
September
Second it.
Monday, September 22nd is not a Monday. You
No,
mean
whatever the September meeting is.
Okay, I just want to.
26.
I didn't have a date. I didn't
Sorry,
have a date
I think that was me. Yes, whatever our typical Monday meeting date is
in
in
September.
September.
The next one, yeah. I need a second,
I second it.
because, okay, Peter, we have a motion by Sharon and second by Peter. All in favor, let's say I'll just say aye. Sharon,
Aye.
Elise,
Aye.
Peter, and myself,
Aye.
aye. Motion carried.
Just a quick question. I've never met in person with this group. The first floor conference room, am I assuming that's at City Hall?
Mm-hmm, it
Okay.
is.
I just want to make sure I go to the right place.
It
That's
is.
right,
it.
City Hall, not the municipal building. That happens sometimes. Yes, sir, City Hall. And then the security
Mhm.
guards will help you get there.
Sounds
Right,
great.
and they will
Thank
give you directions on if you don't know where to go.
you.
So we
Terrific.
don't have anyone here for the neighborhood volunteer spotlight, do we? So we'll have to move on from that. I want to welcome Miss Helen Hyatt from the Coalition of Asheville Neighborhoods with us this evening. Just kind of give us some history of CAN and tell us what things that you all have in that you might want to have.
You're muted.
You be patient with me because I've got a 13-month-old here and he wants to be part of this meeting. And I'll be so glad when his parents arrive so they can take him. So we're good though right now. So Helen, would you just come and give us a little history of CAN and some things, some projects that you might have that you may be wanting to do or have in place and how maybe we can help you.
So I'm Helen Hyatt. Have been with CAN for about 10 years. CAN stands for Coalition of Asheville Neighborhoods, and it's a 501(c) that's been in operation for 30 years. And it's the only group that advocates on behalf of neighborhoods, whatever issue a neighborhood might have. And we differ from NAC in that we're not city run, we're completely separate. And so we've, over this past year, we've been able to accomplish a lot of things. They've accomplished a lot in the past, but I'll just go over the more recent things. So we have consulted with 6 other neighborhoods to get them started and going and organized. And so they can get registered with the city, get their plan on the page going, get their bylaws, offices so that they can be active. Most times neighborhoods get interested when a big development project comes their way or something that really affects them. And then they decide they need to get organized. And it would be better if they started beforehand so that they all knew each other before they did it. But that's just the nature of the beast. So we're happy that we've got at least 6 new ones going. We were able to work very closely with the city to get a noise ordinance passed because so many neighbors were having so much anxiety in their houses, especially people that are close to different venues when they are nurses or have children that they need to put to bed, or they need to, they work a night shift job and they have to work, and barking dogs, all kinds of different things, Mission Hospital, the noise that comes off the roof. So we were able to get that passed, and one of our members sits on the board, so we're trying to make sure people's are taken care of and they're able to not have the walls rattling their houses. We're also currently working with the city trying to get the notification when a big development comes to you. It's currently 200 feet, and we're trying to get it extended out a little bit so that because 200 feet is not a very far distance. And it's better to get involved with if a big project is coming your way, it's better to be involved with the developer at the very beginning rather than at the very end, because then everything's already been planned and everything. So if a few more people knew about it, oftentimes they don't have many people that show up to these meetings. And so a thing goes ahead and then everybody gets upset. So if there's more people involved at the very beginning of the meeting, usually the developers are, they'll listen to the concerns and perhaps there's a good solution that can happen that works for everybody. So we haven't, because the city is so short-staffed, we have not been able to get that moved along yet, but we're still hoping that that can happen. We were also able to help the Oakley Library keep their library because they were going to consolidate them all, and we were able to work with them and the people over in Shiloh to make sure that that stayed open. We got the snipe signs, which are signs that businesses put up all over the street advertising different things. There is an ordinance, and we were able to get the enforcement improved a lot, because it's in some neighborhoods it's really bad. Every corner you come to, there's like 10 signs, and a lot of people didn't like that. So they are enforcing that pretty heavily now. We and just about all of the big things like open space and the changes, we are trying to negotiate a better position. We understand, and we try and work with the city because it's a big city with lots of people. Last week we were meeting with the consultants of the homeless advisory, the consultants that were hired by the Dogwood Trust, to try and get some kind of a resolution and move the homeless situation into a happy place where there's a place for people to be taken, and that neighborhoods are not so heavily impacted by it, because the Ramada Inn was a very bad situation for the Oakley neighborhoods, and they so it ended up being a big waste, but at least that one has now been transitioned to permanent supportive housing, which is a better partner for neighborhoods. And hopefully these consultants will come up with a nice plan that actually, we're not going to solve it, but might release the pressure valve a little bit and be okay for neighborhoods. Southside United is trying to get formed, and they're a new group, and they're kind of struggling to get going. So if anyone would like to help them or work with them or attend their meetings, they would appreciate the support. And they meet on the third Thursday at 6:30 at the Eddington Center. And I think that's the main things. There are a few other things we did that were smaller, but I think those were the main things. So we meet once a month. Anyone's welcome to listen to our meetings. They're via Zoom. And we can't take on all causes because of limited volunteer participation, but we can try to address as many as we can that affects the most people. If a problem affects a lot of people, then we try to work with that. So that's all from me. And I live in the South French Board neighborhood, 28801 on South French Board. And that's all from me. Unless anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Helen, this is Bobette. I wanted to know if there's anything else that Nat could possibly help you with. I know that you talked about the Southside United and your CAN meetings. Your CAN meetings are held where? Because I'm kind of out of the loop of that one.
They're via Zoom.
Okay, just Zoom. So how
Yeah.
would we get into your Zoom? Is there a space that we can go to make sure we can get on?
If you send me your email address, I can add you to it, and then you can get the notification. And if you're able to join, that's great.
Okay. All right. Anybody else have any
I mean,
questions?
I do think Southside United needs NAC's help in some way that, I mean, they're trying to get going. It's just hard for them to get more participation, and they have a very nice guy who's running it or trying to run it, but it's still very low attendance. So it would be great for them to have more support.
Elise?
Thanks. I was just curious. I'm a newer member of NAC. This is only my second meeting, and I was curious if CAN had like a database of the different active neighborhood associations and maybe like a contact person. I'm really interested in reaching out to the neighborhood associations in my area and just like introducing myself to them.
Yes, we have a very active webpage, Coalition of Asheville Neighborhoods. And if you go on to that webpage, you will see the neighborhoods. It's the map is the same as the city's map, but the contact names, which are on the side of the neighborhoods, are managed by that website. So they, if we've got more updated information, it is on there, because sometimes it might differ from the cities. And also on that website is a tab for if a person is interested in starting a neighborhood, a group in their area. There's hints and tips and ideas and guidance and some frequently asked questions about whether they need insurance or do they need to be a 401k or how do you even do it. So it's like real basic steps as to how to get going, and they're and anyone's welcome to use them.
Great, thank you.
If I'm not mistaken, Dowa, we have that also, don't we? Dowa can get that to you too.
We do, yeah. So, Elise, I am happy to share that information. It's on the neighborhood services page of the city's website. Mm-hmm. On that page, you can get to the neighborhood map, and that map has an active database that's attached to it. So as new neighborhood associations come on board and register with the city, their name, contact information, and some additional information is added to that. So that's available all the time to anyone. I'm happy to spend any time going over that with you. And I will just note to Helen's point that there are neighborhoods out there that haven't registered yet. And we do have lists of the ones that we know. So it may be that cross-referencing those two could certainly be helpful. But on the city side of things, that is something that we manage and update regularly.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Sharon?
I was going to mention the website because it has everything on it. It has all the proclamations and opinions that CAN has done. And I wanted to thank Helen for all the work she's done registering and helping new neighborhoods register to the city, because it can be daunting. And she gives a lot of individual attention, and she's done a lot of work. So I have a thank you for that, Helen. So I wanted to thank you for your good work on that, because it's been a lot of work. So thank you. And thank you for telling us what CAN does.
Because also some neighborhoods, when they get started, they don't have a Zoom account. And CAN allows them to use ours so that they can at least get going, because otherwise the free Zoom is just 40 minutes. And sometimes that's not enough for initial discussions until they've kind of got to where they need to be. And then at that point, they can get their own Zoom account, if they've got to raise some money or something. But that we can sort of not quite facilitate, but help and allow people to use that account to get going.
Well, if there are no more questions, Helen, on behalf of NAC, we appreciate all the work that you all do. It's very valuable to us and to the city and to the people that you service in the different communities. And we really appreciate the fact that you took the time this evening to give us a little more information and to talk about what NAC, what Ken has been doing, and NAC will be more than welcome. We're going to start engaging more with the neighborhoods. And so we hope that we can be as helpful as we can. You're invited to stay on this if you'd like, or you may not. We'll go on with our business for the evening.
Great, thank you.
I'll let you go on with this one, election of officers, Susan, because is that part of your committee that you wanted to talk about a vote, or can we just, because I don't think we'll have anything from, we can go on with the information sharing and let you come back in again on a report, or you want to report that now? You're on mute.
Yeah, sorry, I just noticed. Whatever's convenient for you, Bobette. It doesn't matter. It's going to be short.
So let's just go on and go into that now.
All right. Well, what's going on? It's in our bylaws, and we're going to have a retreat. And so what we were discussing during the retreat, whether we wanted to get in and change the bylaws and have, as it states, officers voting. So I think what the determination has been that we need to know our officers, what they are now, how long they are for, and the information of everybody when they've signed up, and that we'll go ahead next year, put off all of this vote of election of officers until we've had some time to wade through the bylaws and see how we want to handle it. So we've taken it off the agenda for the retreat. And so right now, Bobette, it's a moot point. We're not going to tackle it. It's too much too soon after COVID.
Okay, and I think that the reason for that is because that a lot of us have, I was vice chair and Anna moved into a position with the city, so she had to resign her post and I became the chair. And so that's another reason why we'll wait till we get everything in place. And I think next year we'll have a clear understanding where we need to go from there.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Dawa.
So I think procedurally, what the committee will want to do will be to vote to move the election of officers to next September, because I believe the bylaws say that in the, what is it called in the bylaws? The annual meeting will be a regularly scheduled August meeting where officers will be elected. But because of what Bobette just shared, because there's been this transition with people filling in because other people moving on, that moving it, I guess, foregoing that this year, and then to revisit the elections or reschedule the elections to next August or September based on your research if you decide to do that for the bylaws. Does that make sense? So it would just be to vote. I think the vote would be to keep the current officers through next fall's annual meeting per the current bylaws. And then if y'all change the bylaws, you're still covered for this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would like not to say it, a month, seeing how we don't know what month we're going to do it. So I like the term fall. So that gives us some leeway to see how our new year of meeting in person works out, and then schedule it on whether it's August or September. Does that work out with you as well, Bobette?
Yeah, we're going to have a motion on the floor.
Yeah, I was going to make a motion. I just was trying to formulate the motion. So I make a motion that our vote of officers that occur during our annual meeting that is typically held in the fall, that we table this discussion until our fall meeting, or one of our fall meetings, and formulate that. Okay, work?
Okay, can I get a second?
I'll second.
And I'm sorry, I interrupted. We'll have to go back and catch who seconded, but probably for the minutes, we just want to be clear that we're talking about fall of 2023. Is that correct, Sharon?
That is correct.
So in other words, we won't, are we going to have a retreat next month or in October? I see two areas in agenda items.
Yeah. Yes,
So
we are
we're-
going to have a retreat in October, but there'll be different agenda items on that. Then we've taken off the officer and visiting the bylaws in this next retreat.
So the meeting in September is just planning for the retreat, for the annual retreats. That's what that is.
That's correct.
And
And
then in October to be the annual meeting, which will be a retreat.
Okay.
Is that clarity for you?
So the retreat is only by name. It's going to be on the first floor conference room at City Hall, or are we going to Vail, Colorado, or, you know,
Well, let's get what we're out of order. Let's get this motion.
Yeah, sure. I'm sorry.
Finished and approved, and then we can go into, I know it is confusing. When you think about a retreat, you think about going somewhere, relaxing, having fun. So let's just get this out of the way. Sharon made the motion. It was second. I don't know who went first, Peter or Elise with the second.
Elise.
Which one?
I'll second.
Elise seconded. We have a motion by Sharon and it's seconded by Elise. If you're in favor, just say aye when I call your name. Sharon.
Aye.
Elise.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
And myself. All approved. Let's move on then. Sharon, since you're still up talking, you can do the Urban Forestry Commission because Elizabeth is not here.
Okay, I'm Sharon, and I'm also on the Urban Forestry Commission. And I do believe that we, like NAC, will be meeting in person in our October meeting. We have not heard formally yet from city staff that is going to occur, but it seems to be that's the way the boards and commissions are going at this point. So we have gotten approval for an urban forester, and so we're pretty much kind of probably going to spend the next couple of meetings figuring out how we can be of assistance with the city in the criteria of hiring an urban forester and any help they may need that we may be able to offer. So our new agenda for meeting in person hasn't really been set yet, but we're on the move as usual. So that's what I have for Urban Forestry Commission.
Good. Let's go on to the next item. NAC members information sharing activities planned in your neighborhoods. I will say that in Shiloh, we'll come up September the 10th with Historic Day, which will be in the center. And there is the Shiloh Cemetery, which is going to be a historical marker. And they've some students, I think from UNC, I don't remember where they're from right now, but they've put together some information. They've done the information as far as the graves, the names on the headstones, and they'll be giving a presentation at that historic day, which will be September the 10th at the Shiloh Center from 1 to 4. We've already had our July Fun Day. I know that Sharon, you're going to talk about Easten, right? Okay, so that's all I have to say about Shiloh. So next, Sharon.
So I'm Easten Valley, and we're having August Saturday the 27th, our Heritage Festival, which is basically a festival honoring all the past and present people that live in Easten Valley. We've got a huge amount of great music. So we've got about 6 bands. We've got gospel for the kids. We have bubble masters and balloon twisting and bikes and crafts. And we have food and merchandise vendors. And we have a parade that starts at 10 a.m. and it begins at Alexander Drive and ends at MLK. It's alcohol-free and no animals, but it's really a lot of fun and the music is fabulous. So because the person we have that sets up the music has been doing this a long time and knows every band in town. So I would say, come on, spend the day, bring some money and buy some merchant stuff and have a good time. And also Easten Valley, I'll be going to council meeting. They're going to approve the final plans for our soccer field and McCormick Field for our running our track. So I'm going to go and see if that's staying on course, but we're all really excited in the neighborhood about that. And I think we're doing an area plan, which I think I've said before. So like a lot of neighborhoods, we've got a lot going on with a lot of people doing a lot of stuff, but put it on your calendar. It's Saturday, the 27th, and drop on by.
Well, I'll be there because I know there's a jazz artist that's coming on that afternoon, Stanley Beard. He's from Asheville. He is a professional. I've heard him in California. So I will be there. There's also, I went to housewarming Saturday. The Asheville Buncombe Community Land Trust finally got their first person into a home, and it was in Shiloh, and it was very inspiring, and it's just great to see that great work is coming up in the different communities. And so I will be there, Sharon. I will
see you there because I love
will be there, and I'm gonna have my money with me.
Yep.
Because I know it's great food.
Yep.
And it's a lot of fun.
Yep.
And it's a time for, like Renee said, it's time for people to reconnect because a lot of people come home just for that festival.
Right.
So I will be there. Okay, Elise.
I will be there too. I'm planning to be there. And one of my skate friends, Kia, who goes by the stage name Virtuous, is supposed to be performing at some point. So I'm trying to catch her set as well. Let's see. This past month was very busy for me personally. But of what to report on, let's see. If you haven't heard yet of Blue Note Junction, which is an idea that's coming out of the Burton Street community. They are they're about 35, last I checked, they were $35,000 short of their goal to raise money to purchase some land that they are going to develop into a community like green open space and wellness center, creative hub with also there's going to be a kitchen serving food, and it's going to be the home of it's in association with Hood Huggers, and so this will be where they are storing their Hood Huggers vehicles. Dwayne Barton, who's in charge of that, who's a former NAC member and really involved in the Burton Street community. He's behind that. And so I just kind of wanted to plug them a little bit. Their plans that I've seen, they're like sketches of the location are just really beautiful. Lots of trees and green space, a solar powered stage that they have in the plans, and garden spaces, greenhouse. So that's really exciting. And they are really close to reaching that milestone and being able to purchase the land. So that's really exciting. And then the other event coming up is a city-sponsored event at Carrier Park. They've been having these skate nights like every other Friday night throughout the summer. And last time we had it 2 weeks ago, there were over 100 people in attendance. And it's like so various in ages. You know, we've got little kids just learning to skate, and then people who are in their 50s, 60s, even higher, who've been skating for a while. Very varied in the racial makeup and like gender identity spectrum and other, just people of all walks of life there. And so if you want to skate or just hear some cool music, I invite you to come out to that. That's all I have.
Peter?
So Sharon, your event sounds great. Unfortunately, it's my turn for the Asheville Radio Museum, where I volunteer to do the tours and educate people about radio. As far as the community here, as I kind of mentioned before the meeting, we're in the midst of a lot of housekeeping, if you will, of roles, and we're in a transition. So nothing on the books yet until we get that straightened out. So basically, that's where we are.
Okay. If that's all that we have to share, anybody have any questions or anything else they want to add to what we've already heard? If not, we'll go to the agenda items for next or upcoming meetings. We'll have the technical review committee pending, and that'll be with Chris Collins about an alternate date. We're still working on that. Can has already been here today. Annual retreat planning will be next month, and we'll return to in-person, and we have the date and the time, so we'll make sure all the members are aware of when that is. The Festival of Neighborhoods. We'll discuss that when we have our retreat. I think we'll put that on the agenda that'll be one of the things that we had talked about before the pandemic with COVID. We were planning that summer to have a Festival of Neighborhoods, and so maybe that's something that we can talk about during that time. And we've already talked about the annual meeting for the October retreat, and Kim Putnam to present on traffic common policies and process, and that'll be to be announced. So our next meeting is Monday, September 26th at 6 o'clock in person on the first floor of the City Hall. Yes, Helen?
Is there an update on the neighborhood grants? Do you have one on the awards?
We didn't we have that down when that had come out?
So
That was
there
something
are,
posted.
yeah, so it wasn't on this agenda, Helen. So I just want to be mindful of what we discussed. I can just give a real brief overview. We have made many of the awards. We named everybody that was awarded, and then we've been working through projects for the first round, and we are approaching announcement for the second round. So that's all of those applications are being finally reviewed, and there'll be an announcement coming soon. But there is information on first round, and that's available on the city's website, and I'm happy to send you a link to that article if you are interested.
The second round.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. If there's nothing else, I had to chase down a 13-month-old that was into something I didn't need. So all of our information can be found on the Neighborhood Advisory Committee website. So if everyone is in approval, we will adjourn for today. And I will see you all at the festival in Easten Valley Street.
See you Saturday.
If
Thank
you
you,
see
Helen.
me, just give me a wave. I'll just be hanging out.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll end this meeting at this time. It is now 5:54. And you all have
Thank you.
Thank you.
good rest of the day. I'm out of breath chasing down a baby, but I made it. And he's
Thank
still
you.
safe and I'm safe. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a good evening.
You too.